Hello, Matt. How are you doing today? Are you doing
Nick,
anything? I
Nicholas, nice to see you.
yeah,
Yeah, this week has been tough. This week has been tough with the workload.
I heard that no one is working on March Madness. Why is that?
Now, March Madness, it was yesterday and today. It goes all day long and into the night, and it's the biggest non-working workday thing in the U.S. Everyone has their brackets and everyone has their favorites and their games, and it's hard to concentrate on work.
Oh, I need to get into football so I can have some of those breaks, some cultural moments. Oh my god! All right, let's go on.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Nico from Extremely. We are here for another episode of the Vcommerce Show, the show that get and talk about the curated news of the video commerce space, a space that Matt and myself cherish and love and have been on for many years. Matt is with E6 Marketing. And Matt, why don't you take on and tell us what the show is about?
Yeah, thank you, and welcome to the Vcommerce Show. Vcommerce Show is a live chat podcast discussing today's big topics related to video commerce. Video commerce is the storytelling platform that was created over 50 years ago with TV infomercials, then HSN, DRTV, QVC, and it's evolved into a direct response commerce through your TV, computer, tablets, or even phones. So this conversation is about the latest happenings in the Vcommerce world, the e-commerce world. Hopefully you'll have fun listening to our show and pull out a nugget or two of knowledge about Vcommerce. So Nicholas, as I said in the open, this is a tough week here in the US, but especially in my little world. March Madness, college basketball is a big thing, kind of takes over the last 2 days of the week. This time of year, 12 hours of basketball consistently. So like it kind of consumes it, at least my world, it consumes a lot of the conversation, but still, even with all that going on, there's a lot of news in video commerce and e-commerce this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of them being around Amazon, right? And this new thing that they are launching.
I know. I was fascinated with this, and I really want to know. I'm more fascinated with like what's behind the reasons why. So they're having their first big spring sale starting on March 25th. It's a 6-day event, and it's for Prime and non-Prime members. So you don't have to have the Amazon account to partake in the discounting. So they're discounting big, 40-50% on some things, and they're focusing on the natural things for the springtime. So a lot of outdoor care, outdoor lawn care, and outdoor living, exercise equipment, things that they probably don't do a lot of sales with in the fourth quarter for during Amazon's traditional Prime Day, and even in the secondary Amazon's Prime Day in October. So I'm interested in like the whys and how well they'll do. And from the conversations I've read over the last few days, there's a lot of different reasons they think they're getting involved with this. The pressure from Temu and Big Box in what they're doing these days and how they're constantly in the news and things are evolving in those companies, either the Chinese companies coming in or the U.S. Big Box retailers doing well. Customer acquisition could be another big component, obviously, not using the Prime account as a driver. And then just pushing the other dynamics of product. But the biggest question I have for you is, does Amazon know something we don't? And is 2024 going to be a rough year in retail where they're trying to get ahead of that curve?
So I just came back from Shop Talk, and I will say that it's a very interesting questions in many aspects. I think at Shop Talk, in the one of the keynote was someone from JP Morgan that was talking about why, if we think about the whole macroeconomic of retail and just macroeconomic in general, why are we not having a recession this year where all the numbers are in red? And their main argument was, well, the American and the culture, the country had an influx of migrants, about 6 million they estimate, and they brought in buying power, they brought in the ability to arbitrage on labor and things like that, which fueled the whole the whole country. And as a result, we were able to have growth where everyone was predicting there will be no growth. So honestly, I don't think it is Amazon knowing something better that we don't. I think there may be some of that. JP Morgan was clearly saying that they do not predict any recession this year. They are worried about 50-50, let's say, to 2025, which is the first time I'm hearing that, people are just pushing the deadline for a recession. And, you and I, we talked about it with debt rising and everything. I mean, I will share you some of their numbers that they show. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, on the other side, one of the things that I think is very interesting to me is that it was more on the keynote toward the end of Shop Talk, where someone was saying, in the US, we probably are the country that have not the number of party and events, like shopping events, is not as great or in terms of number as other countries like India and China. And in India, they almost have like once a month. And so, in some way, having something that is uh, in March where there's no really shopping holiday, maybe it's just trying to get us to a place where it's more like the Chinese or the Indian market, where they see that those holidays are really having an impact. And maybe I think it's more like, do they know something that we don't? It's maybe like, why not creating another holiday, shopping holiday, where the whole entire ecosystem will benefit from? And because they are so powerful, they have such a big presence, they can create that wave and that impact, very much like what Coca-Cola maybe have done for Christmas. Maybe Amazon is trying to create that for the spring. Uh, stuff. So
From my perspective, Q1 has been rough. Like I don't know how many retailers are really killing it in this first quarter. I'm going to be so interested to see what the numbers are like. At the end of the month when Q1 ends, I think it's going to be a nice surge and a burst in sales. But I am so curious about this. We've talked on this show about easy pay or buy now, pay later kind of dynamics. Fourth quarter bills are not paid yet for this consumer. So she's still paying off from fourth quarter. It's only March. Those credit card bills came in February, and I think they're getting through them now in March and rest of the spring. So this should be really interesting. I like the dynamic. I like looking forward to things. If you're looking forward to summertime and summer products and outdoor activities and all that kind of thing, which is all healthy and good for everyone, it's a beautiful thing. Will this work in this dynamic? It's not gift giving, it's self-purchase. So I'm really, really curious to see if Amazon is successful with this.
Yeah, that certainly is going to be an interesting thing to see and watch and develop. Speaking of Amazon, do you know who is the big winner of the week?
Who?
Mr. Beast. He just signed a new contract with Amazon Prime for over 100 million. Have you seen that?
I did. He's got a show coming out, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, do you know the name of the show?
I think it's called the Beast Games.
Beast Games.
It's called Beast Games. He's going to have 1,000 people competing for a $5 million grand prize, which I read is the largest grand prize in television and streaming history. So this is interesting. We've talked about Mr. Beast before, and I know you follow him. I follow him. He's truly like the biggest U.S. influencer and one of the early influencers, one of the first ones that truly went viral. And I think it's interesting and fun that Amazon is capitalizing on his popularity, and Mr. Beast, from his dynamic, and I guess Amazon's dynamic, making influencers mainstream or helping influencers go to the mainstream. So, traditional television versus just YouTube and, Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, that kind of thing. Do you think this show will influence and help his dynamic? And in your opinion, what does it mean for influencers?
Well, I think there's a couple of things, right? We know that when the Squid Game was on Amazon and Mr. Beast made is remade or this remake, I don't know how you call that, of the show was extremely popular, right? So he's already been proven to really being able to drive the narrative around game, around things that are in the culture. I will say, Mr. Beast is this iconic individual that everyone recognize. Uh, I certainly believe that he has the power of turning on people to go to a place. And if this show is only available on Amazon Prime, I bet Amazon Prime seeing and like, hey, this is going to be a way to attract new users to the platform. And Mr. Beast is certainly going to do a great show there. I'm sure my kids will want to watch it. Everyone was gonna talk about. But it's not the first time that Amazon has been trying to create new content. I mean, like, I'm sure you remember when the Lord of the Ring, like, they spent on a series to preface like what happened in the Lord of the Ring. Like, they spent about 750 million, but the show was not. It's been a flop. So I think getting closer to the audience with a show that is more representing what people are consuming every day, something more. I don't know how I would describe this kind of entertainment, but I think it's really fascinating to me.
Well, it's contests, it's games, and we've talked about gaming being such a popular thing with Gen Z. So I do think it's going to work. I haven't really caught on to Amazon's content as being a big driver for Amazon yet. So maybe they're trying to get into the Netflix world and building their streaming dynamics to be more, truly
But
be more mainstream and more popular.
but think about it, right? The big word this year and last year was retail media. And what did we talk about with Amazon incorporating Fivi, which is their paid ad service, right there into the Amazon ecosystem. So if you're an Amazon Prime member and you're watching Amazon Prime, you are asked if you want to pay the $2.99 or if you are okay to watch ad. And so I'm pretty sure a lot of people are okay to watch ad, but those ad, someone has to pay for those ad. And so if they have audience, this is a revenue generator through retail media, and it is a big focus of Amazon to continue growing that segment. There's a real clear economic that I could see. If they acquire new customers and those customers don't want to pay for the $2.99 extra to not seeing ad, and now all those retailers that have a very clear way of doing retail media through that channel, I'm pretty sure it's a big business for them.
Yeah, and this is another thing that we've talked about in the past. Like Mr. Beast wants to be everywhere, so he's an influencer. He wants to be available everywhere. He wants to be known everywhere, and that's kind of the mentality of an influencer. So I think it's going to work. To your point, I know you agree on that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the show's about, and if I even care about it. I know gaming's a big deal. I'm not into Survivor and any of those kind of summertime shows. I never have been, but I know gaming is a big thing with Gen Z.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just said you were I want to hear about your week.
Yeah, I was at Shop Talk, and it was just fantastic. A lot of keynotes and a lot of meeting interaction with people. But one of the things that really I thought was very insightful on stage, on the main stage on Sunday, there was the two-person from Mattel. And it was someone from the senior staff, from the commercial standpoint, but there was also the person that is leading all the movies and all the all the content that they are producing from a movie perspective. And I wanted to talk about this because we talked about video commerce as, okay, there's the infomercial, there is the live shopping, the QVC of the world, but what Mattel is doing, I think, is just fascinating. So let's go back a couple, what Mattel is. Mattel has been this company that has been number one in the toy industry for every category they have kind of tackled on. Obviously, they have the toy from the Barbies. They have a toy for the boys, like the car. I can't remember the name of that brand, but it's the special car. And then couple of other brand aggregate. And they have been eating the number one for many years. But it's a category that you could argue it's relatively hard to grow when you're number one and you already are dominating all the different verticals you can dominate. What else can you do? And Mattel, what they have been doing is like they have been thinking very thoughtfully about what is the future of their industry or of the company, and they really took a media angle that is fascinating. And what they did is 5 years ago they started to invest into hiring professional in each segment. So they didn't hire someone from internally at Mattel and say, hey, you're going to start producing film, or hey, you're going to start producing game, or hey, they really hired folks that they went out on the market, hire like the top-notch experts, producers for each of those categories, and they started to produce content. And if you think about the Barbie movie, right? I
Yeah.
think this is just the beginning of what's is to come. They are creating games that are extremely engaging, where your favorite characters is actually in a game where people can play with. They are creating experiences through the movies. Just the movie alone. Someone was asking, okay, you have over 100 different brands. Which are the one are you going to create a movie on? Because I could see Barbie being a movie, but like, what else do you have? And they say they have identified over 40 different brands and characters or story within this product that they can create a relevant game like Uno, like some of those things. And they say the movie that are coming and the story that are going to be created is just fantastic. And I don't know, I just felt so empowered, and I won't say empowered, but so um, excited about hearing that, because here it is, a company that is already dominating the market, really thinking video and experience as a much bigger entity, and how to become a video first company. We talked about that. The future, the every company that recognize they are a media company are going to be winning. And I Mattel is going to be one of them for sure. I just found it fascinating, and that was the biggest insight I personally got from going on that trade show, is the mind shift toward production of content at scale, and it's exciting and entertaining. It's just staggering and producing deep out results.
What you just said reminded me of how what's it called, Marvel, the Marvel universe started, and they started because a lot of like Spider-Man and a lot of those entities were owned by large companies. They couldn't make movies from them. They started with Iron Man, a lesser known superhero, and they from that one content, that one movie of Iron Man, they created this whole Marvel universe with so many different directions to go for the last 20 years. And it's been a huge like superhero resurgence. The superheroes that I grew up in when I was young, now my children like have a different relationship with that kind of a show. Mattel's doing the same thing. So to your point, they could pick and choose toys and build characters around those toys based on nostalgia or based on current world, current children, and sell product and blow up the whole dynamic of storytelling through product and through content. I read that I think Steve Tons was at Shop Talk. The article I'm reading here, as you said, they adopted this digital first kind of content creation dynamic. They've got almost 500,000 brick and mortar stores that their products are available in over 150 countries. It's not like they're looking for exposure. They've got the exposure, but they're creating a digital first platform or dynamic that's going to drive them into the future. Very, very smart. And it kind of goes on trend with all the conversations we've had here.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the keynote was Walmart talking about the rom-com that they created and how they thought about incorporating that into a shoppable video experience, and the impact it had on the overall strategy of the company. I do think that the merge of video and commerce doesn't has to be just that influencer-led content created, but it could also well be well thought through a real script, a real TV performance, something that is more geared toward TV and the regular, I would say the regular TV channel per se. Very fascinating.
I agree. I'm glad you were inspired by it. It is an amazing story.
Yeah.
And I assume you saw other dynamics at Shop Talk too. Like there's a lot happening right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of happening. What I propose is that we pack that for today. I have a lot to digest, and I'd love to do an episode on that. Like maybe we'll talk about this on next week. But before we move on, I just want to do a one little shout out, and it's not so much a shout out that is more like what it is. So I was on the plane going to Shop Talk, and on my way back, I got on this movie Joy. I don't know if anyone has seen it before, with Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, and Bradley Cooper. And you know what I didn't know what to do. I say, okay, well, this is definitely not the type of movie I will watch, but why not? So I end up watching. The reason I'm shouting out this movie is for anyone that wants to know the back end of QVC back in the day. This is a really cool way of seeing it firsthand, because she is actually the character is going through difficult times, difficult, challenging environment, and then she end up blowing up with invention and going to QVC at the early days. And so you are able to see the rotation of the shows that you and I we talked about on previous episode, and how the light is, and the surrounding, and the phone and all that. I don't know if it's true to reality, but I'm pretty sure it's probably very close to it. And so I just found it very fascinating to be able to see the backstage of the early on in the Vcommerce space. So just wanted to share that shout out for anyone that are curious to look at it.
That's great. I will say it is very, very close to reality. I kind of grew up in the exact dynamic that Joy Mangano, who is the movie's based on Joy, she's still very successful. She's got her own line on HSN. She went from QVC to HSN many years ago. There's a couple of characters in that show that are actually based on real people, and they had nothing to do with the movie. And it's hysterical when you think about that kind of thing. Like, oh, I know who that is. It's a pretty good movie. I think it's a feel-good movie. If you had a 2-hour flight, I'm sure, or an hour and a half flight, it kills that time. And obviously, the big characters and the big actresses and actors in the movie make it worth your while.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, thanks everyone for being here. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn, on X, as well as on Facebook. You can also find us on the Live E-commerce podcast, where we are publishing this episode every Friday. Next week, we'll try to dive into a little further into the Shop Talk trends that we found. And if you have any questions, if you want to share that with your friend, we would appreciate. Please comment, tell us how we can make this better. Thanks, Matt, for being here. Thanks, Matt, for making this show happen. And I look forward to talking with you again very soon.
Nico, have a great weekend.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.